Show us some love. Hi.
Hi.
Love you.
Love you too. I love my dad.
Yeah, I kind of figured that out. I think they did too.
Yeah.
Uh, that's going to be difficult because I sped that up
Yeah.
for the song.
What is this?
Sarah, will you wear this ring as a sign and a promise to God and to me to remain pure until the day you're married?
Oh my God. Listen, this is wild. Wild. I'm so glad some of you guys got like screen recordings of their TikToks, because I would be pissed if I didn't get to see anything that they had on their TikTok page.
Sarah and Patrick Glitcher once branded themselves the daddy and daughter team, and for a while that name skyrocketed them into TikTok stardom. At face value, they seemed like a quirky, tight-knit father and daughter who shared wholesome content, dancing together, doing skits, or just spending time as a family. Their videos were lighthearted, often meant to bring a smile, but under the surface, something did not sit right with many viewers. The way they looked at each other, the unusual amount of physical closeness, the weird jokes and stares, it did not feel like a regular father-daughter relationship. And while these observations began as whispers in comment sections, over time they turned into loud, consistent alarms. What started as concern turned into investigation, and soon it wasn't just speculation anymore. It became evidence. One of the most unsettling stories ever to come out of TikTok, and it all came crumbling down fast. Sarah and Patrick live in a home of 4 people. There is Sarah, her father Patrick, her mother, and her younger brother. From the outside, it might sound like a normal family, but when you dive into their videos, the picture begins to change. Sarah's mother and brother rarely appeared front and center. In fact, their presence was so minimal that many viewers did not even realize they were part of the household until much later. Her mother often looked confused or dazed in the background, sometimes filming the content but rarely engaging. Many people began speculating that she might have cognitive or developmental delays, which made her almost invisible in the family's narrative. The younger brother, too, was barely acknowledged. Occasionally, you'd catch a glimpse of him in the background, but there was never any real inclusion. It was as if the house revolved entirely around Sarah and Patrick, while the rest of the family just faded into the backdrop. Together, Sarah and Patrick built a TikTok presence that felt more like a relationship channel than a family one. They filmed skits, dances, and routines that centered around their unique bond.
What is this?
Sarah, will you wear this ring as a sign and a promise to God and to me to remain pure until the day you're married?
Yes. That is gorgeous.
Give me your left hand. Okay, this ring will remain on your left.
But what viewers noticed wasn't just the content, it was how they interact. The way Patrick looked at Sarah, how close they would get physically, and the way Sarah leaned into those moments all felt wrong. These weren't fleeting glances or a tight hug here and there. It was repeated, lingering, at times unsettling. Father-daughter date nights, slow dancing, sharing intimate moments on camera. It was all part of their brand. But instead of feeling sweet, it felt intrusive. It blurred lines. And viewers were picking up on that. People began commenting more frequently. Some tried to be gentle. This feels a little too close. Others were blunt. So why'd they act like they're dating? The comments weren't rare. They were constant. And yet, Sarah stood by her father, always defending the bond. She claimed that it was just a misunderstood closeness, that their family had always been different, and people were reading too far into it.
Hi, this message is for Sarah of the Dad and Daughter Dream Team account. If you are not Sarah, you could keep watching or you could keep scrolling. But, Sarah, I want you to know that what has happened to you is not your fault. It was never your fault. You were raised in an environment that was unhealthy. I have a wonderful relationship with my father. He is as loving and as protective and as involved in my life as your father is, but he would never dream of touching me the way your father touches you. He would never dream of writing father-daughter incest
corn
and uploading it to a website. He would never dream of considering me for a purity ring. And I understand that you've been raised in this environment and it has been ingrained into you probably from the day that you have been old enough to understand language, that what you are experiencing is normal, but it's not. It is not. There is no well-adjusted father out there who would do the things to his daughter that your father is doing to you.
Patrick, meanwhile, rarely addressed the criticism directly. When he did, it was often in a mocking tone or a dismissive smirk. It gave the impression that he either did not take the feedback seriously or worse, did not care. The most confusing part, they did not stop. Even after being repeatedly called out, even after other creators made full exposés breaking down the concerning behaviors, Sarah and Patrick kept making the same kind of content. The hugs stayed long, the gazes stayed intense, and their chemistry only became more uncomfortable to watch. For a while, it seemed like they were either completely unaware of how they were being perceived, or they have purposely ignored the backlash. Some even began to speculate that they were doing it on purpose, for shock, for attention, or for defiance. And that is when people started really digging into their history, their behavior, and what might really be going on behind the scenes. Then came the turning point. Sarah appeared on TikTok with what she called a bold new chapter in her life. In a calm but serious tone, she announced she was moving out of her parents' house. She claimed she had just secured a job and said she was ready to become independent after spending her entire life under the same roof. According to Sarah, the online speculation and backlash about her relationship with her father had grown too loud and heavy. She said this move wasn't just about space, it was about peace. It was her way of proving to the internet that the rumors were wrong, that her bond with her father had been misunderstood, and that she could live on her own without his presence defining her. She did not stop at just the announcement. Sarah started posting videos talking about how excited she was to begin this new phase. She described her new apartment as cozy and quiet, a fresh start to help with the transition. She posted an Amazon wish list filled with home essentials like utensils, furniture, cleaning supplies, and decorations. She asked her followers, many of whom had supported her through months of controversy, to help her out, and many did. The public response was supportive. People wanted to believe this was a turning point. They wanted to believe she was leaving a harmful situation and stepping into her own power. Donations rolled in. Gifts were purchased. Hope
Hello,
was
everyone.
high.
By the time you see this, I will be in my new apartment. I'm just finishing up now with one last load. I'm a little nervous about my first night alone, but I'll have Jackie with me to protect me, so I'll be fine. I know you guys are anxious to see the new place, but it is a complete mess right now, so just give me a chance to tidy up and unpack. I won't be able to unpack much now until next weekend, because I have to work all week. People are also asking to see my desk at my new job. I don't really have my own desk, it's more just like a small little cubicle with a phone and a computer. I'm also not comfortable showing my work. I know that just my desk wouldn't give anything away, but I would just rather keep my work private and away from online. Plus, workplaces have strict social media guidelines requiring employees not to post images or videos of their workplace just to protect them from getting caught up in their employees' online activities, which I completely respect and understand. So please respect my decision and please stop asking to see my desk. This is a brand new chapter in my life and I promise to share as much as I can. However, given what's happened recently, I hope you all can understand why I will be taking precautions now that I'll be alone. When we had the Dream Team account, we were way too forthcoming with our location. However, we were always together, so we were relatively safe. Dad was always on alert. Now that I will be mostly by myself, I will be way more careful. Anyway, it's 9 o'clock on Sunday, and I need to get up in the morning and go to work. So I'm going to get this last load over to my new place and get some sleep. I will try to post more this week. I hope everyone has a great week. See you soon. Bye.
But the hope started to fade quickly. Sarah never gave a full apartment tour. She only posted short, carefully framed clips showing random items, maybe a corner of a rug, a throw pillow on a couch, or a part of a table. She said she hadn't fully unpacked, so things were messy. And as for her job, she said she couldn't reveal where she worked because her employer had strict social media policies. According to her, posting anything work-related could get her fired. So, she shared nothing, no workspace, no company name, not even vague descriptions of her role. This was when people began to grow suspicious again. Something just did not add up. TikTok users started comparing these vague videos to older clips from her time living with her parents. They slowed down footage, examined backgrounds, and looked at every frame with fresh eyes. What they discovered was unsettling. The kitchen in her supposed new apartment looked identical to the one in her old videos. The same tile pattern on the floor, the same exact cabinetry and silver handles, the identical wall color, even the placement of small appliances like the microwave and toaster were the same. One creator took it a step further. They made a side-by-side collage of screenshots from Sarah's April videos and compared them to those from June. She claimed she had moved. The evidence was clear, nothing had changed, or if it had, it was minimal. Maybe she had switched rooms, maybe she added some pink accessories, or moved a few decorations around. But the structure of the space, especially the kitchen, was unchanged. The conclusion? She had not moved out. Or if she had, it wasn't to a different apartment, it was likely just a redecorated part of the same house.
Sarah from the father-daughter dream team just came out with a new video, and she updated with some major changes. Not only is she going to start working, she's moving out into her own studio apartment. She said that she's doing this to finally put the rumors to rest. She's tired of people saying that she's like dating her dad, and she's going to be on her own. She mentioned not doing any like tours of her apartment for safety, and also she mentioned that maybe she'll go on some dates. If you ask me, I feel like there's an ulterior motive with this. I feel like the reason that she's actually moving out is because if she is to be with child, then she could say that it happened since she was on her own. But again, that's if those allegations are true, which we don't know. It's just speculation at this point. We can't forget that it was confirmed that that weird like account that was doing those fantasy fictions was belonging to her and her dad. So I don't know, y'all.
People were outraged. It felt like betrayal. Those who had purchased items off her wish list felt used. They believed they were helping her escape an inappropriate situation. They thought they were offering support to someone trying to break free from a problematic relationship. But instead, they were unknowingly helping her paint a false narrative. She did not leave. She did not start. But instead, they were unknowingly helping her paint a false narrative. She did not leave. She did not start afresh. She simply staged a different corner of the same house. Even the reasoning she gave about not showing her apartment due to recent safety concerns began to fall apart. People were not asking for her address or her floor plan. They just wanted a little proof. Something more than a single camera angle or a vague statement, and she gave them nothing. What was supposed to be her redemption arc began to look like another manipulation. The carefully crafted story about independence was riddled with holes, and for many, it confirmed what they feared. She was still there, still in that same house, still with her father, still unwilling or unable to leave. Then came August. That month changed everything. Back in July, Sarah and Patrick had posted that they would be leaving TikTok indefinitely. They claimed the ongoing hate and accusations had worn them down. They chose a symbolic date, Sarah's brother's birthday. They would collect their final TikTok paycheck and disappear. But they did not get to walk away on their own terms. Before they could delete anything, Reddit users made a discovery that shocked even their hardest critics. Two user accounts were found in Letterotica, a website where people post and read adult-themed fictional stories. Describe the user as a 21-year-old woman with reptiles as pets, a suspiciously specific detail given Sarah's known love for reptiles. This account had posted one story, a highly disturbing narrative about a romantic and explicit relationship between a dad and daughter. The story referenced things like Monster Hunter, a game Sarah frequently mentioned. The second account, Babe for Dad, followed Ariella and had several more disturbing stories, all with themes of incest, specifically father-daughter relationships. People were horrified. Screenshots of the account circulated quickly. Then, without a word, the Dream Team TikTok account disappeared, deleted, gone. No statement, no denial, no explanation. It looked like a cover-up, and to many it felt like confirmation. Patrick vanished from the internet completely. One day, he was filming TikToks with his daughter, laughing and smiling for the camera, and the next, he was gone. No goodbye video, no explanation, not even a vague message or a reposted meme. His disappearance was sudden, complete, and intentional. He deleted his digital footprints almost overnight. No more TikToks, no more comments, no likes, no duet. For someone who had been so active, so present, and so involved in every part of their online image, the silence was deafening. Many people saw it as an unspoken admission of guilt. If there was truly nothing to hide, why would he vanish? Sarah, on the other hand, did not disappear completely. She reappeared online a few weeks later, like someone trying to pretend nothing had happened. Her tone was softer, her content gentler. She posted small updates talking about her supposed apartment, sharing vague life thoughts, occasionally posting cheerful or emotional clips. She stayed far away from anything that could stir controversy. No TikToks with her father, no references to the accusation. She wanted to reset the narrative, to make it look like everything was moving forward, as if her life had just picked up from where it had left off, minus the scandal. But people were not buying it, and they definitely weren't forgetting. The moment anyone brought up the Literotica account or the evidence that had surfaced, their comments would vanish. Deleted within minutes, users began posting about how they were being blocked for simply asking questions or mentioning the controversy. Some even created new accounts just to test it, and those got blocked too. Sarah seemed to be in a full control of scrubbing her digital spaces. She curated her comment sections until only support remained. To an outsider stumbling onto her page, it looked like the community had moved on. But the reality was different. The screenshots were everywhere. Across Reddit, Twitter, Instagram Reels, and commentary channels, the evidence continued to circulate. People were documenting every post, every deleted comment, every subtle move Sarah made. Her silence wasn't fooling anyone. In fact, it only made things worse. The more she avoided the topic, the louder the whispers became. Her refusal to address what had happened said more than any apology or statement ever could. It was like watching someone slowly erase the truth in real time. But the internet doesn't forget, and the internet was watching.
Please be careful. We're not really in the woods, literally the parking lot's right over there.
Check. Careful.
I can't reach it.
Where? Right here?
No, it's like right on the side of my back.
Oh, up here?
Yeah.
Okay, there
Thank
you
you. We'll be back probably.
I feel like no matter how many times they say they're not going to touch each other, they still touch each other. This is a clip from Reddit, and it's a clip from their live that somebody had posted showing kind of throughout like the live that they had a really hard time keeping their hands off of one another. I also feel like, honestly, they are rage baiting. I really feel like they are. That whole live was so off, and I talked about this in another video, but yeah, this clip is just like crazy.
As more people looked back at old content, things became even more unsettling. There was a live stream where Sarah and Patrick sat unusually close. At one point, their noses were practically touching. Sarah looked awkward, even afraid. Patrick stared at her like she was a romantic partner, not a daughter. In another video, Sarah's mother jokingly called Patrick her cuddle bear. Sarah replied by saying she'd be standing behind them in her ladybug costume. Her mom froze. She tried to stop Sarah from continuing. She stammered, then firmly told her to shut her mouth. It was chilling. It felt like they were hiding something, and that wasn't even the worst of it. There is a now deleted video where Patrick gets down on one knee and proposes to Sarah with a purity ring. He told her it was a symbol of staying pure for God and for him, that she could keep it until her future husband takes it off. He hugged her. He looked emotional. Viewers looked horrified. That moment alone caused many to label their dynamic as emotionally manipulative and possibly worse. Looking back now, with everything we know, it's nearly impossible not to view their content through the unsettling lens of grooming. It wasn't just the long stares Patrick gave Sarah. It was how intensely he looked at her, like she was the only person in the room. Viewers noticed the obsessive closeness, the way they would sit with no space between them, the way his hand would linger on her shoulder or knee just a few seconds too long. It wasn't always obvious, but when you pieced the moments together, a pattern began to emerge. In some clips, Sarah seemed uncomfortable when Patrick tried to touch her. She would flinch slightly or subtly lean away, but still smile through it all, as if unsure how to respond without upsetting him or breaking the illusion they would created online. You might not recognize it, but the rest of the world does. That's the thing about grooming. It's rarely violent or loud. Most of the time, it's quiet, it's methodical, it works in the gray areas. It's not about physical control, it's about psychological power. It's about slowly making someone question what's normal. It's about shifting the definition of love so that the person being groomed can't tell when it becomes inappropriate. That is what people fear happened to Sarah. Her father's touch became part of her routine. His closeness became something she had to accept, and his attention, whether good or bad, became something she relied on. Sarah has spent her entire life orbiting around Patrick, not just physically but emotionally. Her TikTok persona, her daily life, her social experience, it all centered around him. When you're raised in that kind of environment, your judgment becomes clouded. You grow up thinking this is how fathers are supposed to show love. You tell yourself the way he holds you or stares at you or whispers in your ear must be normal because it's all you've ever known. But to those on the outside, with a clearer view and no emotional entanglements, it looks deeply troubling. It looks like a young woman whose reality has been shaped to suit the comfort of someone else and who doesn't yet realize the cost of that distortion. Throughout the entire situation, Sarah's mother has remained in the shadows, both literally and emotionally. She's often seen just out of frame, sometimes holding the camera, sometimes muttering a laugh that feels nervous rather than joyful. Her involvement in the videos is minimal, and when she does appear, she seems hesitant, unsure of how to react or when to speak. There are moments where she starts to say something and cuts herself off. Moments where her eyes dart to Patrick or Sarah before she reacts, as if waiting for approval. Her presence doesn't bring reassurance. It brings more questions. Many viewers have come to believe that Sarah's mother may suffer from cognitive or emotional delays. In video after video, she appears disoriented or distracted, often smiling at inappropriate times or seeming completely disengaged from what's happening. Her facial expressions, posture, and timing suggest that she may not fully understand the severity of the content being filmed around her. This makes her role in the household even more complex. Is she a passive bystander who doesn't comprehend the full picture, or is she someone who once understood but has been silenced over time? Her lack of intervention cannot be simplistically labeled as argument. It could very well be rooted in fear, in powerlessness, or in manipulation she's endured behind closed doors. Sometimes the quietest members of a household carry the heaviest burdens. If she lacks the ability or freedom to speak up, then her silence becomes a symptom of the dysfunction, not evidence of consent. And that possibility is both tragic and deeply unsettling because it means that someone who should have been a protector might instead be another victim of a wrapped family dynamic. And then there's the younger brother, perhaps the most overlooked figure in all of this. He's barely seen in the videos, barely mentioned in the story, yet he lives in the same house. He hears what's said off camera. He sees the behaviors that go unspoken. What has he internalized? What has he learned to accept as normal? Growing up in an environment where affection is confused with control, where silence masks pain, and where boundaries are blurred can leave deep long-term scars. The question isn't just what he's witnessed, it is how these experiences will shape his understanding of relationships, safety, and trust for the rest of his life. The Dream Team brand is gone. Deleted, Patrick is invisible. Sarah pretends things are normal. She's back to posting, but not too much. She never addressed the disturbing content linked to her, never apologized for misleading fans about moving out, never spoke about taking donations under false claims. She's still there, still in the same space, still under the same roof, and the silence around it all is deafening. Sarah may believe this is all hate, that people are trying to ruin her life. But most viewers were concerned. They saw something they couldn't unsee, and they asked questions. And it's not normal for a father to treat her daughter like a romantic partner. It is not okay to erase boundaries in the name of closeness. Sarah might need years, even decades, to understand what happened. She may eventually realize that her father's love came at a cost, that his affection crossed the line, that his behavior shaped her view of love in a harmful way. She might break free or she might stay trapped in that cycle. Only time will tell. What do you think? Is there hope for Sarah, or is this one of those stories that ends in silence? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more true stories from the corners of social media you were never supposed to see.